Well, we're off. Good afternoon, everyone. It is, it's not good afternoon. It's still good morning, actually. It's only 10 to 12 here in Australia time. We're in pre-show time at the moment. If you don't want to watch the pre-show, just skip to where I show the Osler Images sign in around about 10 minutes, and we'll start the show. So this is basically just having a chat before we get started. I've got so many things I want to discuss with you and show you today. Really looking forward to it. So say hi in the chat. I'm going to cross to that in just a moment. Apart from that, I'm just about to have a little bit of coffee. I should move that up a little bit. Let me move this table up a little bit. So cheers, everyone. Nice malty coffee again today. I haven't put the black hole on. Hang on a minute, because at the moment, it's looking very drab back there. Hang on, I need to go and put the picture of the black hole. Oh, that's much better. All right, so let me see who's in the chat, because I'm curious to see who's here today. It is Good Friday Australia time, so we actually are on a public holiday today. I thought I'd still have the normal chat with you guys, a Sony Alpha Rumours news chat. Excuse me if I do start coughing. I've still got this cough. It usually lasts me about 4 weeks, and then it goes away. I get it every year, roughly. So it is a public holiday. We're not going away. We're going away tomorrow. Actually, we're going up to Echuca, where I'm going to actually take the 105 lens that I've got. So I'm so excited about that. I'll talk about that with all of you guys shortly. So let's see who's here. So we've got Aaron is saying I'm here 2 hours early. Bear will watch Aaron's show next week. I can't wait to have a discussion with him about why he switched to Fuji. Casper's called him a loser there. So Aaron has switched to Fuji. He's sold his A7 III, I believe. But we will have a discussion about that on the Tuesday behind the photo show and talk about his reasons why and things like that. Stephen says, yep, we're losers. Zoe at Moments saying, here in the UK, have been waiting here along with Aaron, editing while I'm waiting. Hero said, just got my 105 in the mail a few minutes ago. Woohoo! Fates said, 105 full frame hood looks bigger. I'm going to unbox it. I haven't even looked at it yet. I'm going to unbox it with you because it's brand new. Excuse me. So we'll have a look at that together. I'll just turn that volume down just a touch because it's a bit hot. 1, 2, 1, 2. I think that's okay. Well, it still jumps when I say that. So what else have we got? So it'd be interesting to see what you say, Hero, about that lens. Face says, yeah, he said the lens looks massive. The box is huge. Philip said, laugh out loud. Waiting on setting up my Moza Air 2. So you bought that, Philip. That is a great gimbal. Check out my review. I did one a while ago with that. Looked fantastic. I see also Moza have got a new Moza Air 2 coming out. This is the Moza Air 1. Where is it? This is the one that I'm using mostly, which is the Moza Air Cross. I do also have the Crane M as well that I like using with my a6400. But this is my favourite gimbal at the moment, the Moza Air Cross. But I noticed there's a version 2 that's just been announced by Moza, so I may get that because it has more of the controls, I think, like the Moza Air 2 has. Let me just put this down. So I'm curious to know what that's going to be like and what improvements they've made to the Moza Air, because I love the Air Cross, and if the same improvements have been made to the Moza Air Cross 2, I can't wait to see it. I'm hoping that the company I deal with now, the Australian company who sells the Moza gear, will be able to get me one in for a review fairly soon. I'm going to talk about them at the start of the show. So looking forward to that. So really glad you got that. That Moza Air 2 is fantastic, particularly if you're dealing with heavier gear. I love that. I love the gimbal itself. The only issue for me was it was a little bit big for what I do with my shooting, the fusion or a hybrid shooting, which is, doing things together at the same time. If I was a full-on videographer or only doing video, I would definitely buy the Moza Air 2, that's for sure. I think that's the best gimbal out there at the moment. Panda's in here. G'day, Panda. How are you? Good to see you in here. Let me go back. Who else have we got? Phillips just saying hi. Panda's parachuting to my house. I think he wants to steal my gear. Zoe Moment says, got my 16 to 35 GM. Oh, lovely. And the 90mm macro. Looking forward to a second body or a 135 GM 1.8. Already got an 85. Need some advice. No, this cough is driving me nuts. I don't feel sick or anything. It's just it's like a dry cough, and it's almost like a asthma, but it's not. It's not that. I just get it for some reason, and I don't know why. So he's saying, should I wait on the A7S3 or an A9 II or an A7R1V plus an A7S for a second body? Boy, there's a few questions there. Look, we don't know. This is the problem. We keep saying wait for the new Sony bodies, but they're just not being released. Now, the latest rumours that we've heard is the A7000 is going to be released on the middle of this year. That's what we hear. Now, whether that's the case, we don't know yet. And the A7S3, we believe, is going to be announced later this year. I think an A9R will not be released this year, or a new A9 II won't be released this year. I think they'll probably announce it sometime early next year, and it will probably be a release before the Olympics, which is in July. So that's still over 12 months away, I think, for an A9, a new A9 coming out. There could be an A7R4 announced later this year, but we still don't know. So I think if you're dealing with real estate and things like that, or using landscape, if that's what you're doing with that second body, I'm not sure what you're shooting Zoe Moments, but I think I'd probably jump in and get the camera now, because you can always sell it if you want to, and you won't lose too much. I'd get probably an A9 as the perfect camera at the moment, and I'll talk about that when we go the show full on in about 5 minutes. Apart from that, I'd probably get an A7R3 if you need resolution, and I'd probably get that now. I don't think I'll be waiting, because if you need the camera now, you need to get it, because who knows how long it's going to be before we get another announcements done. Mick's there. G'day, Mick. Mick's responsible for making me buy the Sigma 16, and I'll talk about that shortly. Hero's just saying, woohoo, 105 day. Carl said, hello, David and friends. Eddie said, listening from Barbados. That'd be lovely. Butchers says, upgrade to A7 III from A7, or get a 70 to 200 to couple with my A7 instead. I would upgrade to the A7 III. Massive difference in ability of those cameras, so I get the A7 III first. Jim said, pre-show greetings all. G'day, Jim. Good to see you in here. Hero said A7 III because of the new AF, and that's exactly what I just said. Langston says, good evening, everyone. Chris said, hello, David. Warm day in Los Angeles. Good Corona day. Yes, that's... Well, I'm not having Corona. I'm having like a stouty coffee. It is a holiday here today, so... can't wait to see... Hopefully I can meet you in LA when I come over in February, Chris. William said, I have the 105 and really like it. Langston said, haha, the black hole. Yep, it's over there. What else have we got? And Thomas saying, cheers, David. Langston said, don't get sucked in. Don't make me laugh because I'll cough more. Peter said, watch the trip hazard. Yep. Dave said, hey, mate, where's your bunny ears? I could have put the bunny ears on. That would have been a funny way to start it, wouldn't it? Peter said, thumbs up, people. Virgo says, Chayo David, looking fresh, stay blessed. Thank you so much, mate. MSX Bro says, hi from New South Wales. John says, hi, David. John from UK, Fuji runs on coal, not battery. Flying High or Low says I have the 85mm, so I bought the 135mm instead. I'm going to talk about this later too, the differences between, say, the 85 and the 105 and the 35 will be an interesting discussion, actually. Langston said, posted the group about continuous light versus flash. Would love to get your opinion. I haven't read that yet. I shall have a look at that. If you want to put in the comments, I might be able to talk about it, Langston, later on when we have the Q&A. If you want to stick it in and make sure it says the at David Osler, I might see it soon. Everyone else is just saying hi. I'm just conscious of the time. We've only got a minute till we start, so I'm going to skip some of these. Hi, DeBrown. G'day, I'm DeBrown. Ephraim said, hello, love your show. Thank you so much. Craze One says allergies. It may be an allergy. I don't know. They can't work it out. I've been on 2 sets of antibiotics to clear this up. It may be allergies. I don't know. I get it. So I never got it last year, but before that I used to get it nearly every single year, and it lasts me about a month, and then it just disappears. And it's see, it's like this dry cough I get. Really annoying. It drives me nuts. So it's nothing to worry about because I've had it for years and years and years, and it'll go, but it's just annoying. So sorry if it bugs you if I do start coughing. What else have we got? Panda's talking about his, he got this new Micro Four Thirds camera. David said, I have the same thing, David. I get a cough for a few weeks after I get sick. I know it's pain, David. Mike says, we need some more. Thumbs up. Thank you, Mike, for saying that. Zoe Moment says, laugh out loud, shooting weddings, don't shoot me, and I have the A7R3 and absolutely love it. Yeah, well, if you've got the A7R3, I'd get the A9 as a second camera if you can afford it, definitely, without doubt. If you can't afford it, then the A7 III is a perfect camera for shooting weddings. Lowell says, I need to get the A9 and sell my A7R3, then later buy the A7R4. Be nice to get cameras with the new processors. Yeah, there will be a big difference. And particularly, I would say all the new cameras are going to have the latest focusing modules in them. So, you know, we'll get the latest focusing like the A9 and the a6400 have got. So, yeah, I mean, it just depends. I mean, the A7R3 is a great camera. It just depends. And we don't know when the A7R4 is going to be announced, but you can probably almost guarantee that's going to be way up in megapixels. You know, it could get close to 100. We don't know yet, so that's going to be interesting. Zoe at the moment said, I do both photo and video, so the A7S is for video, but I want a second body to complement my A7R3, yeah. We don't know when the A7S3 is going to be, though. That's the problem. Richard's just saying hi. George said hello. Mahand says, which camera should I buy? Nikon D750 or the A7 III for the first camera? I'd get the A7 III, definitely, if it's for your first camera. Zone Moment says, holding back because I really want the tracking the A9 has. I know, that is unbelievable, particularly for video. It is absolutely amazing. I'm Brown says, the cough is the ball man's cough. You get that after 45-year-old. Barry says, hi, David. Peter says, does the A9 have 10-bit out? No, it doesn't. It's only 8-bit. Unfortunately, that will come in a new camera, I would say. All the new cameras that come out, probably from the A7S III and the A7000, probably will have 10-bit out external. I think the A7S will have 10-bit internal. That's about it. All right, so let me bring up the start, and then we'll get stuck in with the show, guys. So bear with me for a second, and then we'll start the show. G'day, everyone. Popping in for our usual Friday show. We've just had the pre-show. I did apologise if I'm coughing. I still have this horrible dry cough. Just can't get rid of it. I don't feel sick or anything, though, so don't worry about that. It's just this thing that I get every 12 months or so, and it lasts for a few weeks and then goes away. I've just been saying hi to everyone. I've got stacks to talk to you about today. And I've got some new things I want to show you, and also some nice rumours and stuff that's going on as well. Now, I have got the 105, which I'm going to unbox with you in a minute, But before I do that, let me just show you this company because I want to keep promoting this company that's looked after me so much. C.R.Kennedy. So they're actually an Australian company. Now, the reason why I'm promoting, they're not paying me or anything, but C.R.Kennedy is responsible for, well, they're going to send me a whole heap of gear that I can review for you guys. Now, the great part about this is that they sell everything. So it's not like they've said to me, I have to do good reviews or, fudge the reviews or anything else. If that was the case, I wouldn't have done it. They said basically, say how it is, and give the reviews honestly. Otherwise, it just wouldn't be a good thing to do. And, it's not good to lie to sell gear. But C.R.Kennedy, if you do want to support them, I get that many Australians that ask me for local suppliers. Obviously, I do have B&H and Amazon links, affiliate links for the US people and everything else. But if you are in Australia, I'd love you to support C.R.Kennedy. They don't sell Sony cameras, but they certainly sell, excuse me, things like the Sigma lenses, things like that, and all different lenses. You can see here that they also sell drones, bags, studio lighting, and high-end studio lighting, photo accessories as well, and also lots of tripods. They have a lot of high-end gear as well, medium format cameras and stuff like that. So I may be able to borrow all different things from this company, which is going to be fantastic for you guys, and I will be able to give a broader range of reviews. They did give me yesterday the 105. I had the choice of whether I wanted to get the 105 or to get the 135 Sigma, and I thought I'd go first with the 105, and then obviously next I'll get the 135mm. There's also some really exciting things that are coming up through this company, really exciting things, but I can't talk about them yet. So stay tuned for that, but there is some really exciting stuff going to happen. So that's going to be fantastic. Like I said, I'm not being paid by them though, but at least I've now found a local supplier that is willing to support a local YouTuber, which is fantastic because I've had so much trouble. For some reason, Australian companies just don't seem to want to support local people like me, which is nuts. Because I get that many people asking me, David, where can I buy this gear from? I'd like to buy it through someone like you. Now, I don't get a payback from them. I don't even get a discount. I don't get discount links through them. I think they also, C.R.Kennedy also supply a lot of suppliers as well. So they'll send those lenses out to other people and the flashes and all these high-end things to other companies as well. But they do actually have an online shipping as well. But that's all I wanted to talk about with them. But thank you so much, guys. Mark is a guy I deal with in Melbourne. There's also Aaron in Sydney. So I will put the links down below anyway. If you can support them, would be fantastic. So I thought today we'd start out with looking at the 105 because I just got it. Now I'll show you the box. So I haven't even looked at it. It's brand new. I haven't even taken it out. So I thought we'd look at that first. Because I can tell this is going to be massive. Because look at the size of the box. I laughed when I picked it up. I thought, oh my God, this is huge if you're used to the normal lenses that I've got around. Now, I have also bought one. I've bought a 16mm, which I'll talk about as well. But let's have a look at this beast because I'm dying to have a look at it. I picked it up late yesterday. And like I said, I didn't open it because I wanted to do it with you guys. So let's have a look. So basically, you've got all the detailed stuff in here. Now, this isn't mine. I've got to give this back in 2 weeks, so they haven't donated it to me. I have to give it back in 2 weeks. So, looking at that, I don't know what's in here. Oh, it's a strap, which is interesting. And now I did look on YouTube online. This little rubber thing is actually to, if you want to take off, because I notice it has a tripod collar on it. So this little thing you can put on if you want to replace the tripod collar. Because I noticed I read one of the early reviews said that if you took the tripod collar off, it looked ugly due to the fact you could see the screw mount holes. Well, you mustn't have had this because now, or unless that wasn't shipping at that time, but now you can replace it with that if you don't want to have the tripod collar on. And what's this? I'm not sure. Looks like it's another strap or something, and then you get an Allen key. That may be to take the tripod collar off. I'm not sure, but that's what you get in that part of it all. I can't wait to see this lens. I'm dying to see it. So this is going to crack me up. I'm so excited about shooting with this though. Look, as you guys know, I keep saying to you that I do like to work really light, and that's still the case for me, but this is why I'm just so happy that I've been able to get a local company that I can review this stuff for you to see if it might meet your needs. And I have sort of spoke to you all along. I'd love to try and give a lens a go for something, a point of difference. So it does come in a case. So let's open it up. Oh, I love it. That's a big honking case, isn't it? So, wow. This is like a tank. It really is like a tank. So let me just grab that. So this is the lens. That is crazy. Woohoo! Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. They'd stuck a mount inside there. It must be so I can put it onto a monopod or something. So this is the lens itself. So let me put that back. Now, so if I put the hood on, so that's without the hood anyway. So you can sort of see here, and then you've got obviously this mount, so you can put it onto a monopod or something, because there is a bit of weight there, and this could be a great lens to stick on something like a monopod and use it that way, just to take the weight. Also, I think it might be better, due to the weight of this, to have this held by, to hold this by this mount at the bottom. Due to the fact of the weight, you wouldn't want to put that weight onto the camera itself, because, well, let me put it onto the A9. Let's just have a look and see how it looks. So let me put that down for a second. And then let me just see. Okay, so that's basically it if you're looking at it without the lens hood on. And like I said, you could hold it like this if you want to. And I think the A9 particularly is quite strong in the mount. So you've got that issue with that it is quite strong in that mount area with extra screws. So it probably is quite safe to do that. But I still think something with this weight, you're better off to hold it by this underneath here. So I think when I'm shooting it, I'm probably going to shoot it more like this and take the weight on my arm and shoot this way rather than shooting it with, a conventional way. You could even hold the lens if you wanted to, but I think I'll probably leave that mount on. Now that's what you could take off, and you use that rubber band to come around here so it doesn't look ugly when you take that off. But let's stick on the lens hood. I like the way that works, actually. That's quite nice. So that's it with the lens hood on. You can see how massive it actually is. Let me check, just see how it seems to focus. It looks like it's pretty good. It looks like it's fairly fast. Even in low light, this is quite low light in here, and it is actually focusing quite quickly. I don't know whether you won't be able to see that, I don't think, but No, you won't see it. It does look like it's focusing fairly fast, but I'll give this a full review. Now, over the weekend, I'm going to take this with me to Echuca because I'm going up north for a couple of days. And if you've checked out the video that I've just put on of Matisse, she will be joining me up there. She was actually staying there, so it was it was just a coincidence. But she's staying there with me. So I'm going to take this and give it a full testing over the weekend. I've got 2 weeks of testing with this. So if you do have something you'd like me to test, guys, put it down below in the comment box later, and I'll see if I can address that in the next 2 weeks for you. Because I'd like to, probably use this in the evening as well. I might even try it with video. I'll probably connect it to the Ninja V and show you how it focuses as well. So I'll give a full review of how it all works together. It looks really nice though. It's got a manual switch there for manual focus and autofocus. It is heavy, but it doesn't feel too bad. I can't wait to try it. I'm dying to try it. So that's that. Let me just put that down there. So that's the 105mm. Now, the other one that I wanted to talk to you about was the 16mm, and I had to blame Mike for this because Mike lent me the 16mm f1.4 for the Sony APS-C camera. So it's for the a6400, a6500, everything else. So Mike actually lent me that. I've got to send it back to him next week on Tuesday actually. It's Easter, so I'm not sending it back over Easter. So he's responsible for me for buying this because I said I wasn't going to buy any more lenses, APS-C lenses. For the a6400, I was intending to just use full frame glass. But Mike lent me that, and I tried it and I loved it so much that I went out and bought it. It gives you a 24mm full frame look on the camera, but this thing is ridiculously sharp. I mean, ridiculously sharp. I'll just show you. I only did one quick test with it the other day, which was this one of Matisse, and it was stunning. It really was stunning. This was at 2.5 though, but it really is ridiculous. I don't know, this may not show up as sharp on Facebook, but it is ridiculously sharp. And the colors coming off the lens as well are really nice. I mean, really nice. And I loved it. I thought, wow, I've got to get it. This is ideal for a gimbal when you're putting this onto something like the a6400 with a Moser Air Cross, or even the other gimbal that I've got there, what is it? The Crane M is also fantastic. But it's more the fact how well this focuses. Like, it focuses super quick. It's silent. I'll do a full review of it, so I will review it for you guys so that you can see how it functions. But, I really do like it. Let me just quit that Lightroom. So I really do think this is fantastic. And like I said, I wasn't going to get one. But I do love the 1.4 aperture, obviously. So due to the fact that the APS-C cameras can be a little bit noisy if you start to up the ISO, well, having that ability to shoot at 1.4 is fantastic. It takes the same NDs. The ND that I was using was this one, which is the Hoya variable one, which is that one. Let me see if it'll focus. May not. Is it going to focus? I don't think so. Oh, yeah, there we go. More focus. Focus. There we go. Right there. Oh, that's glitched. Oh, what's happened there? Let me switch cameras. Oh, I didn't like that. Oh, that was weird. I went all bodgy. Let me switch cameras for a second. No, that's gone funny. Oh, that's weird. Oh, I think it's backing up. You know what it was? It's Lightroom has backed up. It was doing a backup. Let me just switch the camera off and I'm going to switch it back on, guys. So bear with me just for 1 second. Let's see if that's fixed it. I think so. I don't know what happened then. When I quit Lightroom, it did a backup of the of everything. It was doing its usual backup, and I think that sent everything into a spin. Anyway, so that's what I'm using for. I think that's probably one of my favorite lenses now for the APS, for the Sony a6400. I absolutely adore it. So, like I said, it's a really nice lens, built well. The focus ring feels beautiful. The depth of field looks gorgeous. So just a fantastic lens overall. So stay tuned for the review on that. And it certainly is an amazing lens to stick on a gimbal. So let me just open up the chat because I want to just talk to you guys about this to see. Oh, I got a donation. Who was that? Rickrat. $10. You should get the whole Sigma 1.4 trio, the 16, 30, and 56. I am... Rickrat, I am actually thinking about looking at the 56 because that gives me the 85mm focal length, or around that focal length. So now that I'm using that, and like I said, I blame Mick for this because he was responsible for me trying that lens out. Like I said, I wasn't even going to buy any more, but I certainly am now thinking about getting the Sigma lenses because they've lifted their game so much. Look, I shouldn't say that in a way because I used to love the 85 and the 35 that I had for Nikon, and you know the art lenses were amazing. But these ones aren't even actually classified as their art lenses; they're their contemporary lens, I think, which is the C. But fantastic. Yes, I may actually think about getting that 56 because I do love the 85 focal length, and that could be a great one for video. But thanks so much, Rickrat, for the donation. So let me just go back and see what people are saying about that lens. Thanks, Jim, too, for keeping the stories up there for where we are. Where were we? All right, so let's have a look what people were saying. Oscar's just saying he's from Chile. Aaron's saying, hey, Oscar. Full wide, for the A7R3, should I get the 16 to 35 GM or wait for the Tamron 17 to 28? I'd wait. Just wait at this stage. I did contact them the other day, and they were still saying that it's probably going to be around June release sometime. I didn't get pricing or anything yet, but hopefully I'll get it as soon as I can get one here in Australia. They'll lend me one that I can review for you guys. What else have we got? Eddie said, when is the 135 Sony lens coming out? The wife keeps sending me money. I asked Friday about that. It's not good news here because I know I decided to end up pre-ordering one. But it looks like it's still going to be... They said to me that Sony Australia, when they contacted them, Sony Australia mentioned that the 135 was in such high demand that they're still going to be not delivering for 4 to 6 weeks. I originally had it down that I was going to get it in the middle of this month. So now I was expecting to get it. So it looks like it's going to be a very, very long wait for people. Now, whether certain markets will get more lenses early on, but it looks like the Sony 135 is going to be as hard to get as the Sony 24mm, which is still on back order everywhere. In fact, if I try and get the 24mm here in Australia, I have to wait 4 weeks to get that. So I would think that if you haven't pre-ordered the Sony 135, you're not going to get it for a long, long time. So it's bad news for me in that regard. I am going to have to wait a fair while before I get it, I think. I know B&H are saying the end of this month, but it's going to be interesting to see how many units they actually have. Hero says, can we order stuff from them in the USA? I don't know. I think they might only be local, Hero. I'll have to have a look at that. Conrad said, oh, he's just talking there. What else have we got? Mike said, have you used the Rode Wireless Go yet? I've got that on pre-order, Mike. I know they're available at B&H now. They were in stock. I checked this morning. But mine is still on pre-order here. It just says sometime in April for me to get that wireless go. So I have got it. I'm really excited about getting that product because I think it will be a fantastic product for me because of how small that is. And I really do believe that that Rode Wireless Go is going to hurt the what is it? What's the one that's just came out? The Sennheiser. I think it will probably hurt that unit. I noticed Max Urov did a video about that this morning or yesterday, and he was raving about it. So yeah, I'm getting it. I just have to wait. Hopefully I'll get it within the next week or so, but Easter may slow things down as well. Oscar said, I have bought the Sigma 35mm. Excuse me. Next, I'm aiming for the 135 or the 24. Yeah, look, the thing for me too is, like I've said, I have pre-ordered the 135 Sony lens. But the only reason why that matters to me, and I'll let you know more once I've reviewed this Sigma 105 and also the Sigma 105, because from what I've seen, the image quality between the Sigma 135 and the Sony 135 is basically exactly the same. So, and it'd be amazing if I could get both of the lenses together, but every review that I've seen shows that the Sigma is outstanding, the 135. The difference is the focusing under low light conditions is I believe, I haven't used them yet, so I can't say, but I believe that the focusing of the Sony is slightly better under low light conditions. And that matters to me due to the fact that I'm shooting weddings and things like that. So I'd probably prefer to go for the Sony than I would for the Sigma. The issue is it's the cost. You do save a lot of money by buying the Sigma over the Sony lens. So that's something you do have to make a judgment call on. I'll probably, hopefully, be able to get the Sigma 135 when I take this back. So then I'll be able to review that for you and you'll see how it works for me. And as you know, my reviews are going to be different than a lot of the reviews that are out there because a lot of the reviews that are out there are very technical. I'm going to show it from a working photographer's perspective on what the image looks like rather than if the brick wall is straight, chromatic aberrations and all this other stuff that the tech heads are into more. I'm going to show it from a portrait photographer's perspective of just using it in real life. So that's how I'll be reviewing it because I like to review them as I'm going to use it. I just care about what the image looks to me on the screen and when I print it. So, I'll let you know how that is when I review it. So at this stage, though, that's the only thing that's sort of swaying me more towards the Sony against the Sigma is the fact that I think the Sony is a little bit smaller, if I'm correct. And also, it has the aperture ring on it, and it has the extra button if you want eye autofocus. But it's more for me, they don't really matter to me. It's more the focus that matters. So, I might get the 135 and completely change my mind. I don't know. But I'll let you know when I review it. I'm dying to try both of them just to see how it is. So I'll let you know. But it's certainly exciting that you've got those options out there. And I know a lot of you have already got the 135 and you're very, very happy with it. In fact, in my photography, videography school Facebook page, a lot of people are posting images with that lens now and the results look outstanding. And I think I'm going to find that the results from the 105 are also outstanding. The hard part is that it's tough if you're dealing with, should I get an 85, a 105, or a 135? And this is what you're going to have to work with, is what is your perfect focal length. And in some ways, I didn't put that on right, actually. In some ways, this could be a great compromise if you don't mind the weight, because the 135 can cause you to be a little bit far away from the subject. And if you're dealing with working in tighter areas, the 135 is going to be way too long in its focal length. The 85 you might find maybe a little bit short. So in some ways, this is like the baby child of, the love child of the 85 and the 135 put together. And it might be a perfect focal length for some. The issue, I suppose, is the size, and it is big. So that's the issue with that, the 105 lens. But I certainly will let you know once I've done all the testing, how it all works. I'll certainly sort of say which one I like over these lenses. And I'm dying to try them out. I can't wait for the weekend to give it a go in Echuca because it's beautiful up there. And to actually try it is going to be fantastic. It does have, I think it's an 85 or an 82 millimeter thread. I don't think it says on it, does it? No, I'm pretty sure it's an 82 or an 85 millimeter thread. It doesn't say on it, but I think it is, so it's big. So if you're going to use NDs on this, you'd be better using your square NDs that, you know, fit up in this, they slide in. You'd be way better using that sort of thing. But I certainly won't be doing that over the weekend, that's for sure. Daniel saying, nice to be live. It's good to have you in here, Daniel. Also, Oscar said the 24mm also is a great lens as well, and I am tempted by that lens too. Henry said, does anyone know of a good 105 ND filter? And I think the thing, Henry, is you're better to use more of the ones that slide in. And someone else may be able to help me later because I'm not really a landscape photographer, so I only use these, you know, the variable NDs that you see as your general ones that are out there. But I think you're probably better off to use the ones that are the slide-in ones that you buy a kit and it attaches to the front of the lens, and then you just put the filter actually in. Someone will come up with that, I'm sure, in the chat. What else have we got? Hero said the case is nice too. Yeah, it is actually. Yeah, I've got to look after it because it's not my lens, obviously. The rubber band is to replace the collar. Yes, it is. If you take that off, then you can put that rubber band on. That's bigger than my camera, than a camera box. It's huge. There's multiple straps in the box. Yeah, there is. And I don't know quite what they're for. I don't know. I'll have to read the manual. Like I said, I've just opened it with you guys. Aaron said it's so big and heavy you need 2 straps. Yeah, you can do the curls with it, couldn't you? Like, you know. It'll be a workout, that's for sure. Altric said the 105 is a beast. It is. You know what, though? I have to say, it looks absolutely amazing. Like, this thing is gorgeous in the fact of the engineering of this lens. It feels stunning. Like I said, it does feel like a tank, but everything about it, you know, the casing's metal, everything about it is just gorgeous. I mean, it really is a beautiful looking and feeling lens. Great weather sealing as well, I noticed when I had a look at that before I put it on the thing there. So it does have great weather sealing as well, which is important as well. Jim said, I think David is that grandkid opening presents. I know, I do love looking at that. Casper says, you talk about G-Master lenses. I know, this is crazy. I believe this is just a fraction heavier than the 70-200 G-Master. Like I said, it's certainly not a lens I'm going to be using all the time, that's for sure. But I'm dying to try it out just to see what the quality's like. Brandon says it's a monster of a lens. Have to put it on a monopod to hold it with that camera. Yes, it is. Let me just check who's just gave me a donation. Long Rider, thank you so much, mate. Really appreciate that. Just gave me a $5 donation. Thank you so much. Let me quickly, I'm just going to go through these as quickly as I can. Like Hero said, 105 filter size. I'm sure it's about an 82 or 85 millimeter. I got my Hero says, what's the focus throw of the lens? I don't know. I'll review that and put all of that sort of stuff in the review. James says, get 2 105 so you can cosplay. I love it. Panda's leaving. See you, Panda. Jim Hero said it's very fast. The focus one I just tested looked really good. How much? Well, I think they're around about 1,600 United States dollars. I believe that's the case. feel better with the grip on. Yeah, that might be the case where I put the grip on this A9 for the weekend so that I've got something a bit more substantial to hold under here. So yeah, I might put the grip on. And I think then it will balance much better with the grip on as well. So yeah, that's probably what I'll do. Kerry won't like me seeing you bought the 16 1.4. I know, she said you're unreal. Sigma APS-C Trio is good. The 16, 30 and 56. I've heard really good reports about the 56. And that, like I said, that's a really good focal length for me because I like that 85 focal length for portraits. So that's why I'm considering the 56. Bill said, David, you can take pictures of the black hole with that lens. I love it. I wish DxO Mark lens benchmarks exists. Yeah, that would be cool. Less than 1,000, you can get all three. That's the Sigma ones. Yeah, no, great value. Gerald said, I told you long ago about the 16. You did, Gerald, which I used in my a6500. It also is one of Jason Vong's favourite lens. Rick Rat gave me the donation. James said, jitter hands from buying a new lens. Rick Rat said the 56 is supposed to be razor sharp. Well, I can tell you what though, this 16 is also unbelievably sharp, like really sharp. Royce said, excuse me, a rotten cough. I have the 16 and 85 on my a6400 and they are very impressive. Henry said, remember to keep the hood on the 105. It's extremely prone to hazing and glare. Yeah, I've heard that, Henry. I will. I'll keep that on. Also, I want to protect it anyway. Do new firmware. Works better with the MC11 adapter. Your opinion, please. Which lens are you talking? This is the Sony mount, so I don't need to do a firmware update on this. If you have the Canon mount, yes, you probably do need to do the update. But this is the Sony mount, so I don't need to use the MC11 with it due to the fact that this, is already the Sony mount on it. The Sig, what are we saying? I have the 24 and got a lot of chance. I think you're saying you got the 24. Yeah, that's a great lens. It's certainly one I'm tempted with. Royce said the 105 on my A7R3 worked just fine pre-release, pre-firmware 3. Cool. So it said 135 1.8 is May 6th on Amazon. Yeah, I'm not certain that those dates are going to hold those though at moments. I think you're going to find, from what I heard yesterday, the dates are going to push back. Unfortunately, because I heard, like I said, I was told on Wednesday, that the pre-orders for that lens have been nuts, really heavily back-ordered. So if you haven't got it on order already, I think you're going to be in trouble. Hannah Saber got his 135 G Master. Yeah, he did, Brett, but that's probably because he's one of those Sony, I don't know what you call it, you're one as well. One of those Sony, not artisans, but it's the ones that do workshops and stuff like that for Sony. So he would have probably got an early release one, I would say. Matthew said, great to be here live instead of work. It's great to have you in here. Hero said the Sigma 85 1.4 is nice too. Yes, it is. It's a great lens. I had that for Nikon and it was an amazing lens. John said, any news on the Tamron 70-200? Not yet. That may be announced later this year. But I've got a feeling that we probably will get that next year about the same time the 17-35 goes in May to June. That's just my feeling. So at moment says, but reviewers are going to get the 135 much earlier, but if you're buying from retailers, it will be a waiting game. Yeah. You've got to remember too that, like I said, the US reviewers will get that a lot earlier because they will get them from Sony in the US. Sony in the US tends to look after all the YouTubers a lot more. I don't get that support here in Australia. So unfortunately, I don't think Sony will send that to me here. So it's just the way it is. I've just got to wait like everyone else. I'll probably have to wait until I get the one I purchase. Hero says that 70-200 Tamron needs to be released ASAP. I know, I can't wait for that either. Hero said the 105 is the perfect in between. I agree. Brett says the 135 G Master is insane lens. David, yeah, can't wait to get mine. Brett. Jim says, friendly thumbs up reminder, 141 viewing and 42 thumbs up. Yes, please, if you can, guys, I'd love thumbs up because it does make a difference. Being a YouTuber that has that is doing all this on my own, I really do need the support. So thank you for saying that. And thumbs up do make a big difference with me getting more views. Victor said 135 isn't that far at all. You can still communicate just fine. I've never had any problems communicating. Yeah, it's more space though, Victor, is the issue. That if you're dealing with working in tight areas, that's where the 85 will be much better. And the 105 even can be an advantage. If you're dealing, say, doing weddings and you're dealing with tight areas, the 135 may be a bit long. What else have we got? Lee filters. That's the one I was thinking about. Yeah, thank you, Victor. Lee filters are great. Yeah, and I have heard nothing but good things about them. Like I said, I don't do landscape enough to justify them. But if you did, the Lee filter system is fantastic. Matthew said you could try the 135 for these live streams, but the camera would need to be in the backyard. And I'd love to put that up there and go back into the studio. That'd be quite funny. Brett said Benro ND filter kits are the way to go for landscape photography. Yeah, I know Brett does a lot of landscape as well. Long Rider said, I'm going to get that lens for a condom rack. Don't make me laugh, please. Hank's photo said, what is the cost? And if I decide between the 105 and the 70-200, what should I pick and why using the A7R3? Well, I can't tell you because I haven't used it. I do love primes though. That's the thing. I do love primes. If you need a 1.4, this is going to be much better. And the same with the 135 is going to give you a much better look to it. So, but only you can make that decision about whether you'd like to have a zoom lens. If you get the 2.8 version, it's going to be the same weight as this anyway. So you can only make a decision which way you'd like to go. I'd probably prefer a 105 or a 135 than a 70-200 2.8. That's just me though. It's a 105mm filter thread. No, it's not. I think it's an 82 or something like that, the filter thread size. The 105 is the focal length. Peter said, all the art lenses are the same quality. We now have 8 in our combined kits. Yeah, we're very lucky. Oh crap, oh crap, I'm late and was out mowing. That's Stephen. Well, at least you're here now. Hero said, where were we? Hero said, portraits only, I get the 105 for a great all-around. For a great all-around, get the 70-200 f4 or the f2.8. Yeah, see, I've got the 70-200 f4, which I would keep for that flexibility. But I do love shooting at 1.4 or 1.8 though, and that's one of the advantages with the prime lenses. So if you're doing just portraits, having that 105 or the 104 is great. Oscar said, originally I saved for the Sony 35mm, but I ended up going for the Sigma 35, sacrificing AF speed in order to buy the Godox 8200. Yeah. Hope I made the right call. I've been wanting to experiment with flash. The 8200 is a great flash, so yeah, that's fine. Langston said, am I the only one waiting for the new aperture light releases? I feel like I've abandoned my people focusing so much on video. Well, I focus a lot on video now as well, so I don't blame you for thinking about that. I'm lucky now that I'm using the Profoto so much for my LCD. In fact, I'm often using the LCD light of the Profoto B10 more than I'm using the flash. It's so good. Visual said, sir, I'm asking about the new firmware 3 for MC11 and adapted lenses. Well, I've heard that it works very well. That's all I can tell you at this stage because I haven't used any adaptive lenses, but I have people telling me all the time that the new firmware for the MC11 with the firmware 3 for the A7 III does make a difference. Brett, yes, Advocates was the one. Yeah, so Brett and also Hannah Sony Advocates, which means they do training and things like that for Sony. So that's probably why Hannah got that early. Obviously, they're going to look after their Sony people before they look after anyone else. Jim said, Visual Johab, please use Q&A before the question and be more specific. Oh, okay, thanks. B&B Phil says, I'm buying that 105 next week for my Nikon D750. I can't wait to try it. I'm really excited about trying it. Stephen says, check DigiDirect. They may have stock on release. They normally do on great prices. Yeah, I'll have to have a look around and see, Stephen. I mean, it's meant to be released here now, I believe. So I phoned up DigiDirect Wednesday as well, and they told me the same thing, that it was late. No, I think it was early May before they get stock. I think the stock's been pushed further and further back due to the fact that they're so popular on pre-order. I think you're going to find they're a lot harder to get than people are expecting. G'day, Photomiac. Vic, you were shooting from half court with that 135. What else have we got? Photomiac says, damn you. I'm not sure they're talking to each other. Ron says, got the Rode Wireless Go today. Super excited. I think it will work great for weddings. Yeah. The other thing with the Rode Wireless Go is, if you stick that on the top of your a6400, you can stick it on a gimbal. I don't think it's going to make the slightest bit of difference with balancing your gimbal because it's so light and so small. I even think you're even going to be able to see the screen. That's why I'm so excited about getting that system. I think that is going to be the best system out there for vloggers and also if you're using gimbals like I do for the type of work that I do. Dying to get it. Like I said, it's still on pre-order. All I got was it's going to be available sometime April here in Australia, but I noticed B&H have already got it there now. Hero says, I'm just holding the 105. It's like my precious. I know, I felt like that when I was holding it as well. And I'm going to do it again just because I'm so excited. Woohoo! It does feel... It feels like I'm holding a tank. Like I said, it's not a lens that I'll be grabbing out all the time, but just to be able to do something for a point of difference, to do a portrait shoot. Like if I did have this in a wedding scenario, I would have this obviously in my bag and then bring it out just to do the occasional shot. It's not going to be that I'm going to be walking around taking this all day. It's too heavy. But for a point of difference, it might be a gorgeous lens to use, but I'll let you know when I use it. Philip said, Sony 24mm, we're going to go for 2 hours today, guys, because I'm not even onto the stories yet. Sony 24mm rental came in and it's beautiful. Yep, I've heard the 24 is amazing. That's also a lens I'm looking at too. Stephen said, the AD200 Pro may be coming out soon too. I'm sure it will be. Altrix said, I have the Sigma 135 with the MC11 and it rocks. I've heard the same thing as well, that they work really well now with the MC11 adapter. Daniel says, do you think APS-C will ever get firmware upgrades, maybe the a6400? No, I don't think you'll get those firmware upgrades at all to what the a6400 gets. You're going to have to buy a new camera. That a6400 has a different processor. It's got the same processor as the A9. Langston says, what are the immediate downsides of using continuous light versus flash for photography at events like weddings? Ah, okay. Well, I use continuous light now all the time. In fact, I'm changing completely. When I'm doing receptions now, I actually have Kerry holding the B10 with the 2-foot octa, and I use it in continuous light. That's the way that I work with that now all the time. So I'm not having flash going off. I can use a reasonable aperture, and I don't have to just keep flashing, all the time, just going bang, bang, bang with the flash. I can just get Kerry to move around and I just shoot instantly and it's all done. So that's the way I'm using it now all the time. There really isn't disadvantages apart from the fact if you're doing portraits, the iris can be a problem in the eye because the iris naturally will open right up due to the fact that if you're dealing with low light scenario, your eyes naturally, they close right down. So you get a tiny iris due to the fact that it's so bright. So that doesn't look very nice in portraiture. It's nice if the iris is open up a little bit, which it happens if you're using flash. The other thing too is it can be extremely bright. That's another problem. If you don't diffuse the light, it's very, very hard for your talent to look at. And, you know, they will squint because it's so bright to look at it. Another problem is you can't be too far back like you can with flash, because flash is way more powerful. And therefore, you can stand back a lot further and light up your subject. So flash is a lot more powerful. But I'm using, like I said, I am using continuous light more and more now, due to the fact that what you see is what you get, and you can just fire away and just shoot. And so I do like it a lot. But there's still room for both. You can't overpower the sun with continuous light. They're just not powerful enough unless you get ridiculously close to the subject, and then you're going to blind them anyway. So they're the main differences. But I am using continuous light more and more with my work, definitely now. My 135 is so sharp and has been on my A7R III for all week. Brett said Sony pre-orders backed up. Just about all lenses and cameras, unfortunately, yeah. And that's the problem, Brett. I mean, the issue is I don't think they can keep up. They've become so popular that Sony back orders are going to... You're just going to have to wait now. And you know, when they come, they come. So I've got to wait like everyone else. So, I mean, I'll contact Sony Australia and ask if I can get one I can borrow. But like I said, I haven't had much luck with Sony Australia lending me gear, so I don't like the chances of it. Jim said, gas, laughing at gas. John said, the MC11 is great, but only works on video. With Sigma lens, Metabones works for video in advanced mode. Oh, okay. So you're saying the Metabones is better for video. Is that what you're saying? Works great for video only with Sigma lenses. Okay, so it won't work with Canon lenses. Okay, that makes sense. Hero Shot says, I tagged you on Instagram with a filter size, plus I wanted to show off the box. Yeah, is it an 82 or is it a 85? I can't remember the filter size. Hero says, Daniel, the a6400 will get updates since it's... Oh, the a6400 will, yes. The other thing too, I am going to... Because I've got this for 2 weeks, the 105, I'm going to try it on my a6400. That's going to look hilarious. But I'm dying to try it to see what that focal length looks like. Because I think it becomes like a 170. So I'm going to try that and see. Ron says, I get mine on Tuesday. Do you think it's more reliable than the Tascam DR10? What's that, Ron? I missed what you were asking about. Oh, you're talking about the Rode? Is that what you're saying? Well, I can't say because I haven't got it yet, but for all the reviews I've seen with that Rode are saying it's amazing. Hero says, yeah, the a6400 will get upgrades. Yeah, I'm just saying the a6300 probably won't. It might get minor upgrades and the a6500, but I think you're going to have to wait for the a7000 before you get some major upgrades. Leslie says, got a second-hand SMS Pantex. Cool. 1.4 50mm lens with adapter, and it's magic for $70. You can't... I know some of those old lenses are beautiful. Daniel said, David, which camera are you recording the stream on? I'm using my A7R II, Daniel, with the 35 1.4. And it's on 1.4. The focus is pretty good for an older camera. Ron says, it seems Sony is always on back order. Is it because they don't make enough of them? I think it's because they've got that many orders, Ron. They are just that popular at the moment that they just can't make enough of them. All right, that's it. I want to go and discuss this one thing for you because I've got a company that sent, so it's Next Story. I just wanted to talk about this company that has sent me these things for, as you know, small rig, send me stuff as well, and I do love small rig, and they're probably my favourite company for cages and things like that on the A6, well, with any camera. I mean, I've got this amazing thing that I'm going to talk about shortly, which is the cage for an A7R II. But I'm waiting on, this thing here attaches the cage up the top, but I'm waiting on them to send me a new one, which is going to come out, which can rotate the screen. That's on pre-order at the moment. So Small Rig is sending that out to me. But this other company sent me out some other stuff for the a6400. So I thought, and like I said, with everything that's sent to me, they just said, would you have a look at it? And I said, yep, haven't asked me anything about giving reviews. I'd never take anything if they said you have to give positive reviews. So they've sent me a couple of things out that I thought I'd show you. So the first one that I'll show you is this little device. Now they're actually called ULANZI. Let me see if that'll focus. Let me hide my face because it's on face detect and that always causes a problem. So they're actually ULANZI. Let me see if I can get that to focus. So this is their solution for the vlogging fix that is out there. So it's this little device that looks like this. And what it does, let me see too if I can. It's got a little hot shoe on this side and then it's just got the screw-in bit on that side. So what this has done is you just screw this basically into your, and I'll show you the website where you can get these. They're actually really cheap, but I'll show you. So if I just screw this in, you then just put it out to the side like that. And then all you do is grab your microphone. Where'd I put that mic? Oh, here. So then your microphone will just attach, obviously, to the outside. So there's a few solutions for this coming out now. I've noticed that work very well. What about the... I haven't even tried this. How does it work with... Yeah, it works pretty good, actually. So that's with that device attached. And then, obviously, you know, your screen is outside of that area where it can be a problem. So that's quite a nice solution. And that's the first one that I wanted to show you, was that little device. So that works quite well. And obviously, you know, you can move that around if you want to. You could even probably point it backwards if you wanted to by undoing it and then have the microphone pointed back towards you. So that's the first little attachment. I know when Jason Vong and stuff did one early on, they made some of these up out of different parts and stuff. But this is a simple device that basically you just connect like that and then the thing connects to like a cold shoe mount. So that's the first thing that they sent me, which seems to be quite good. Next thing they sent me was this little thing, which is one of the vertical grips. And I'll just put this on so we can have a look at it. What do I do with that? Now, the beauty of this little device is the fact that, now what do you call these? I've gone blank. Let me just open this up to remember what they're called. L bracket, yeah, that's what they're called. I went blank there for a minute. So this is a little L bracket that attaches to the a6400. You can get to the doors and stuff, so all the doors will open up, no problem. There. Underneath, you've got your battery compartment and stuff like that, which will open up, no problem. You've got bits you can screw in the side if you want to do it there. But the beauty of using something like this is if you do deal with Arca Swiss, this is an Arca Swiss plate on the bottom and also the side. Now, what's great about it is that if you're using your tripod with your Arca Swiss, then obviously you can just slide that in and then you've got the built-in Arca Swiss on that side. But if you did want to then put your camera up the other way, the Arca Swiss is on that side as well. Now, there are a number of these around. Again, this is by that same company. I'll show you their website in a minute. And they're not paying me anything at all. I don't even get a kickback on the stuff that's there. I just thought that I'd show it to you. So that's that, which works great. So if you are into L brackets, it's a cheap solution. And I'll show you the prices in a minute. The other thing is too, if you wanted to, you can then stick, because there is a screw on the bottom there, so you could then stick this little holder on the bottom through here. Let me just screw that in. And then again, if you were using the L bracket, you could then put the microphone attachment onto the side like that. So it does sort of work for both of them, which is great. Let me just undo that. So that's the L bracket that they sent me. Now, the other thing that they sent me is just a cage. So I'll quickly show you that before we go on to the next story. So let me take this L bracket off. And they're all metal, all very well made. Let me just take that one off. So the last thing that I've got here to show you is is the actual cage itself that they sent me. Nicely made again, all out of metal. But if I put this in, I'll sort of show you with it in the camera. So that's with it in the camera. Now, the good thing, I suppose, is that you've got the mount on this side, so that if you did want to put on a microphone, you can on this side. Then it doesn't... Oh, I've gone the wrong way to tighten it up. It then doesn't affect the screen that you put up. So, you know, that's one good thing. It does take a little bit off the front there, though. But, you know, it's not bad at all. And then obviously you've got all your mounting points and everything else that you can sort of put on there as well. I'm not sure. I think that's also Arca Swiss, which is great. Let me just check. Yeah, so that's also Arca Swiss, which is fantastic. Let me just tighten that. Is it? Seeing if I can tighten it up. Yeah, it's a little bit loose though, so that's a... Oh, am I going the wrong way? No. No, it's not Arca Swiss. It looks like it's Arca Swiss at the back, but it's not. That's a bit weird. I'm not sure why they've done that. I would have thought that they would have put the Arca Swiss bit at the front. It's at the back, but it's not at the front. So I don't know why they haven't done that. That would have been a great solution. I might even talk to them about that. There are a couple of screws on the front, so I'm not sure if that's for putting that on. It may be. But nice. It's got the nice round grip on the side there, which is really good. Mounting points all over. So yeah, I mean, it's another cage solution that is out there, and I'll quickly show you the website, and I'll put the links down below just in case if anyone is interested in having a look at these solutions. So the site itself is here. And it's called ULANZI. So the ULANZI, I think they're a Chinese company, I would say. So that cage is $29.95 US if you order them through that website. Now this is through ULANZI Direct. They may even be on Amazon. I don't know. I haven't even looked. So that's $29.95 for the cage itself. I'm just trying to see if it says... so it's talking about that you can put a lens wooden handle here. There's a lens holder interface through here. I just don't understand. I would have loved them to actually have had the Arca Swiss hole on that side. I'm just checking through the pictures here to see what it's showing. Now, see if it shows anything else. No, it's not showing. So anyway, that's the that's the cage. So that's $29.95. The quick release plate, the L plate, I mean, is... Oh, I've got to change. It wasn't changing. Let me come back. It wasn't actually showing the site. This is it here. So it's ULANZI Select, and that's the thing there. So it's $29.95. And I was trying to have a look through the photos to see if it was showing it with the attachments on. It doesn't, though. But anyway, that's that. The quick release L plate is this one here, and that is $16.82. They're all on special at the moment. I've noticed that was $28.50, but they're saying it's $16.81 at the moment. 2 days left on these deals. What was there left on that one? 2 days left on that one. Whether that's their normal pricing, I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure. They're saying this pricing lasts for 2 days. So it's $16.82 if you want the L plate. And the vlogging microphone attachment that I just showed you before there was $9.95, and it's usually $19 as well. So I'll put those links down below after we've finished, and it'll be interesting. And see what you think. I mean, I think they're a really nice solution and great prices, but like I said to you, I'm always honest with you guys, and I think small rig give a better solution, and I think small rig tend to be a much nicer product. But at those prices, they're pretty amazing, and they do seem to be really well made. Like, they are really well made products. So, yeah, really, really good. I think the L bracket's really great, how it's got that built in already, the Arca Swiss adapter. You know, and that's a great little attachment if you do want to use that. But anyway, that's it. But I do think I prefer, you know, small rigs solution. But anyway, thought I'd just show you that. It seems to be some great products released, and I always love looking at new products. I do love the way the smooth handle is on the side of that, though. It's really quite nice. So that's that story done. A couple of people are just saying in the chat that you rock my mind on the ride question. I'm not sure what that meant. Jim said, oh, caught up, yeah. V3Z said, do any of the battery grips work with the a6400? I haven't seen a single reviewer speak on that. I haven't got a battery grip. There is one though, I believe, but I just don't have one, so I've never used one, so I can't comment on it. Brett says, L bracket, love my small rig L bracket. Bike Vision Scotland said, I always use the L bracket when using the tripod, great for portrait mode. And Brett says, small rig have the Arca Swiss plates. Yes, they do. That's correct, Brett. So that's up to that story. So now let's get on to the... Boy, that's a while. What are we on now? 105. We've been an hour and I haven't gone through stories yet. All right, so let's go through the first story because I want to talk to you about this story. So I'm going to go to the Sony A9. Now I'm just going to put next story. So let's go to this because this is really interesting and this does not surprise me one little bit. This is the Sony Alpha rumor site, and they're saying that the Sony A9 is a desired object thanks to the firmware 5 update and the $1,000 price drop. And it just basically says it's the firmware release and the $1,000 price drop are the things causing this discussion or this sort of desire of purchasing the A9. Now, you guys know that I gave a discussion just recently. G'day, Ben. Good to see you in here too. I gave a discussion recently about that I thought the A9 now was the camera to get, and I still do believe that. In fact, with the tracking mode now, check out the video I just put up of Matisse that was done with the A9 using the tracking. There was only one area where I made a mistake, which had Matisse, which was a fraction out of focus. It's only a very short scene, and I just put it in because I thought it fitted so well with the rest of what was going on. I didn't use the tracking on that one. I made a mistake. But the tracking was wonderful in grabbing Matisse in that video. It was superb, and she was dancing, moving around. The tracking is just amazing. And have a look at it. And it was all shot with a standard profile on the A9, which I adore. It shot with the Tamron 28-75, which I adore. And I think that video is gorgeous, so check that out. But I do now believe with that $1,000 off, and I'm not sure how long Sony are going to keep that price off the A9, but with that new version 5 firmware update that's come out, remember we're going to get the Animal IAF in the US summer, so it's going to come, and they may even add more features, we don't know. We're definitely going to get the Animal IAF as well as the a6400, we'll get it, and we're going to get the intervalometer as well at the same time. So I think the A9 now has moved to a new level, and in fact, like I said in that other video, that it really is like you're buying a new camera. It's that good that I do believe it's like buying a new camera, and it's certainly changed the way I shoot. In fact, it feels like I'm cheating. And I'm going to use the A9 on the weekend in Echuca because I want to give the Sigma 105 the best focusing that I can throw at it, and that's the A9. So I'm going to use that with it. I might do a couple of things with the A7R2 just to give it some resolution. But I'm going to use the A9 for the review that I'm going to do with the 105. It is just unbelievable, and it's not like any camera I've ever used, and it's so far ahead of any other camera that I've used that I would now recommend that if you were thinking about buying a camera, I wouldn't hesitate to buy the A9. I don't think we're going to see a new A9 this year. I may be wrong, but I think with the firmware updates, my feeling is we probably will get another one before the Olympics. But remember, the Olympics aren't until July next year, or June, July. So that's still over 12 months away. So I think if you are considering getting another camera, if you're considering getting an A7 III and you can afford the extra 1,000, I know people go, oh, it's $1,000 is a lot of money, and I understand that. But if you can afford to buy the A9 now, you certainly will not regret it. I'm not going to go through the whole thing again because I put up a whole video about that. Check that video. It's a couple of videos back in my channel. I talk about the benefits of the A9 that it has over the A7 III. The only reason I would go to the A7 III is if you need picture profiles. That's the only reason why I would go back to that, or if you need to use flash faster than 5 frames per second, because that's what the A9 gives you. The A7R III gives you 10 frames per second with flash. So if you need that, then you need to move to the A7R III or the A7 III. Everything else, I would go for the A9 now, definitely. I think the colour has been improved, and I've noticed that a little bit in what I've shot so far. I still need to do more tests on that, but I think the colour definitely has also been improved. It's just the way the camera works overall now. The back screen is much more fluid. The tracking is unbelievable. The IAF is incredible. But anyway, that's all I wanted to say. But it was an interesting story that they're saying now it's now become a desired object. And I would definitely take advantage of that $1,000 while it's off. Okay, let's go to the next story. Someone's just said also, did I get an answer about the Super 35 mode on the high-res sensor versus the 24 megapixel sensor? No, I haven't heard that, Matthew, yet. I just remember in early reviews, they were saying that Super 35 mode gave a better readout than using full frame on the A7R. I think it was due to the megapixels. And I think they had the same issue too with the A7R III. I could be wrong though, and that's what I'd love to find out from some videographers. Let's go to this next story, which is about this new leaked lens from Samyang. Samyang are kicking goals at the moment. They're saying that they're going to release this new 45mm 1.8 lens. It's autofocus. And it's just saying this is the first leaked image of the soon-to-be-announced Samyang 45 f1.8. And they're talking about coming soon. They're saying that the Nikon 85 1.4 has been announced. 14mm 2.8 has been announced. That's the Z mount. The 85 1.4R mount is announced. And the 45 FE is obviously coming soon. So, interesting times. I mean, they really are kicking goals. I mean, the 85 lens that is now there's some reviews out now showing this lens. Seems to be that it's working wonderfully, and it really is a great lens for the cost. Really good lens. If you want an 85 1.4, the only options you really have, if you talking about native E-mount, are the G Master lens and the 85 1.4 from Samyang. Let me just check on B&H. I'm just curious to see what this is in cost. So $700 is the. It's coming soon, so you can't buy it yet, or you can order it, but it's not there yet. So you're talking about $700 US compared to whatever the G Master is, which would be $2,000, probably close to $2,000. Massive difference, massive difference. So if the quality is even similar, and the focusing and stuff is similar, it's going to be an amazing lens. And from what I've seen, it really does give outstanding results. So it's something that you may want to consider if you don't want to go down the G Master line. I'd love to get a version of this for testing just to see how well it works. But Samyang really seem to have lifted their game. Much quieter in focusing. The early lenses were very, very noisy in focusing, and they seem to have fixed that, those sort of issues up. But there's some great reviews online. Dustin Abbott did a great one the other day, that he seemed to think that the lens was really nice as well. Great fall off, good focus, things like that. So it might be a lens that you may want to consider. So fantastic. I'm going to keep going because we've stopped so long, and then I'll just open up Q&A, guys, because it's we've already been on an hour and 12 minutes or something. So there's another lens too that's been announced that I think is just beautiful. I do have a bit of a lusting love for Voigtlander lenses. They are gorgeous industrial design. And there's a couple of new lenses. There's a 50mm 1.2 FE and also the 40mm 1.2 FE. They are manual focus lenses though, so you do have to remember that if you're going to buy these. But beautiful, adorable, gorgeous lenses to use that have beautiful manual focusing and amazing robust quality that, you know, would last you a lifetime if you buy one of these lenses. So I just wanted to quickly bring that up, that, you know, there are also some new Voigtlanders as well. Keep firing away with questions, guys, because I will come back to it all when we go to Q&A. The next story coming up is this, that Mikaton, I think that's how you pronounce it, or Mikaton, I'm not sure, have announced a new Speedmaster 50 0.5 Mark III FE lens. So again, we're being spoilt if you want fast glass. So the people talking about you can't have fast glass on Sony, we can just laugh at them now because we know it's not true. So this has also been now officially announced. I don't think they're talking about prices. Let me just see if it mentions in down here about pricing. No, I don't think it does. It's got 10 elements looking at it. It's saying in here that it's got a new optics design, offers slightly more compact size. You can see there down the bottom, it's quite small and nice and compact. It's saying down here that it's got 10 elements and 7 groups. Looks like it's going to be a nice lens. I'd love to try it out. It's got an 11 blade diaphragm, so it gives you nice diffused out of focus rendering as well. So, and there's a whole stack of information. Like I said, I'll put these in the comments box down below so you can have all a look at these later on. I wanted to quickly go over this because I thought, wow, this is really interesting. The Sony, I've just got to move this so you can see it. Sony have announced the winners of the 2019 World Photography Awards. And this is where, I don't know, I find these photography awards and contests so subjective because, look, there's some nice images that I look at and I think, yeah, they're quite nice images. But some of them, I don't know. I mean, I look at them and I just think, yeah, okay, they're quite nice photos or reasonably good photos, but I don't know. I'd like you to have a look at them and put down your opinion below about what you think about them, because I don't know. Look, this is the thing that I find is all so subjective, because I look at some of the images that I see on my photography and videography school, and I really think a lot of the images I see are better than those ones that are basically announced as the world's winning photos from Sony. So I don't know. The issue for me with this sort of stuff is it's very subjective, and these photo contests are really, really subjective. And I'm just not confident about how they're even chosen sometimes and who chooses them and what the selection criteria is, you know, and things like that. But anyway, it's there to look at. I'll put the link down below. Leave your comments about it because I'd love to know what you think about that. Really interesting. Last story before we open up to Q&A is this picture of the black hole. I love it. It says the mystery of the black hole is solved. You can see that that's the original one over there. Then you can see that it's changing and it's actually a Sony alpha sign. I love it. And then you've got down here, I love this. They're showing this, that's the iPhone XS, the Samsung S10. Then it's got the Huawei, or however you pronounce it, the Nikon D850, the Canon 5D, and the Sony A7A. You can see it's actually a donut. And you can see the black hole down the back down here as well that I've got. So I am actually showing that through Sony. The reason why you see this in better detail is because I'm using the Sony a7R. This is why that black hole looks like it's a better a better picture. I love it. All right, let's open up to Q&A, guys. So fire away anything. I'll talk away for another 10 minutes and then we'll finish. So if you have any questions that you'd like to have answered, fire away. I'm just going to scroll back to see if there's anything that I haven't talked about. Chris says, according to B&H, the filter size for the Sigma 105 Art is a huge 105mm. I don't know. I'll have to find out. Oh, so it is 105, is it? Yeah, it's 82mm. For the Sigma 135, is that what it is? Okay, sorry. So Jim's saying for the 105 is for the, it's 105 for this lens, and it's an 82mm for the 135. That's where I was getting confused. Okay, sorry for that. I was saying someone was wrong earlier. Interesting. So it is 105. Wow. Ha says, how is everyone? Do you have the Sigma lens with you? Me? Yes, it's here. Here it is. This is it. This is the baby. Can't wait to use this in the coming days. It's going to be used tomorrow. Look at that. Look at that. Seriously. I mean, seriously. I'm gonna like a kid with candy shop tomorrow using that. I can't wait. I'm dying to use it tomorrow. 42 Pro says the A7R 3 does perform better in low light while using the Super 35. Yeah, that's what I heard. But I also heard too that it was the A7 III as well, but I may be wrong. Hard says, but some of these focal lengths are around the same distance. Do you think it's a smart choice? Which focal lengths are you talking about, Haz? Just throw that back in the chat. I'm curious. Mike said, Dave, tell Sony we need face selection autofocus like the Fuji has now. The face you want can be selected from a joystick. I know, I noticed that. That is a really good firmware upgrade. I noticed that Sony had, Fuji had just put in on their cameras that you can select a face now from it. So not only, I know on the A9 you can choose which eye becomes the focus, but it is annoying sometimes with the face detection when you have multiple people that it will grab the wrong face, and that's annoying. Sometimes I would love to be able to switch faces just by pressing a button. Now I noticed Fuji have done that. So yeah, I hope Sony have listened or seen that, what's happened, and we get that as a firmware upgrade, because I think that's a fantastic thing to get. I often get around that because I'll use flexible spot, or I'll use center focusing and things like that to get rid of that annoying problem. But it would be great if you could just use wide area with face detect on, and then just choose which face you wanted to be the one that you'd want to select. You can register faces, which obviously makes a big difference, but to have the ability, if you haven't registered faces and you're just in a crowd, but you wanted to say focus on one face and just switch to that face, would be fantastic. And I think that's a great thing that's been added. Aaron says, yes, Mike, it's nice to choose like that on Fujifilm. Yeah, and I do think that's a great feature. Gerald says that Mikaton will be around $750 United States dollars. What else have we got? Aaron says, oh, laugh out loud. Tuber Dylan says, that's great, a black hole down under. I love it. Let me see if I can get it out of focus, the black hole, more. Let's see. All right. Let me bring this up. Oh, look. See, this is shooting with other cameras. That's what the black hole will look like. This is what it looks like when you use a Sony. I love it. Langston says, Q&A, recommendations for light stand rolling bags. Well, rolling bags, I can definitely recommend the Think Tank, Langston. I adore the Think Tank photo bags. I've got 4 of them. The airport ones are fantastic. Let me just bring up, hang on, I'll even show you. New window, think tank. So let me go over to here and see if I can get the rolling bags, rolling cases. So these are the ones that I recommend. Let me just quit that because I don't want that to be on. Rolling cases. So let me just move this so I can get this in the screen. So the ones that I've got two of these. I've got the these two, so I'll show you the two that I've got. I've got three. I'll see if I can find it, because I've got four of them, believe it or not. I've actually got two of the same, though. I've got four of them. I've got the Think Tank. I adore this bag, the Think Tank Airport International. I've got the version 2, though, so I don't have this new one. I've got the version 2 one. And they're $399.75. But these things are indestructible. They really are indestructible, and I adore them. So I've got two of those Airport Internationals. I've got one of the airport security bags, and then I've got this one, which I love. It's the one with the 4 wheels. Let me see if I can find that one. I love this one. This one here, the roller derby. I've got that one as well, and that one is probably my favorite bag due to the fact that it has the 4 wheels and it's so beautiful to move around. That's the one that I usually put my lighting in. So anything when I'm using my Profotos and stuff like that, I usually carry it in this roller derby bag, and I love it. So I've got 4. So I've got one of those. I've got 2 of the Airport Internationals that you can see here, and I've got one of the airport security bags, and I adore them. They are my favorite bags. Indestructible, last forever. The zips never let me down. And I think if there is a problem, you can send it back. I think they have a lifetime guarantee, actually. They have locks on them, the TSA locks as well. Fantastic. Some of them have backpack parts in them. I think the Airport International has the backpack on it. I can't remember. It's one of them has backpacks as well, that you can put them over your shoulder if you want to. But brilliant. And I'm not sponsored by them. I've bought them all with my own money, and I love them to death. Let me go back to here. Mark said, a bit late to the event. Happy Easter, everyone. David, did you get the special coffee with the Easter eggs? No, I've got the special coffee. Easter eggs are Sunday, but I'll probably have something today, because it is Good Friday here for me, guys. Gerald says, my dog Ziggy's barking out there. Gerald says, having judged many photo contests myself, they are so subjective. That and the same photos judged again will result in totally different results the next day. I know. I just don't like them. I just don't like these photo competitions, because I just don't understand half of the ones that get chosen. Veritas is saying, hello, g'day. Tube Dylan says, I love my tea. I don't know what that means. Are you talking about tea or drink or what? Langston says, I have the Streetwalker bag from Think Tank. I love it. Yeah, Think Tank bags are brilliant, Langston. And like I said, I'm talking from a person that's not sponsored. I've paid for all of those bags. I adore them. Like I said, they've never, ever let me down. And I treat my gear rough. And they still look fantastic. The rollers on them are brilliant. They are fantastic. I've showed what I put in my bags a number of times, and they've never let me down. The Panasonic S1, you can use the joystick to change which focus is in eye. Time for Sony to switch with a firmware upgrade to the A7 III. Yeah, you can do that with the A9. You can't do it with the A7 III, though. I don't know why they didn't add that in. Airport International, yeah, love it. Gerald says, LTDI, you are correct. No problem selecting the face you want with Sony in the right focus mode. Yeah, and that's what you've got to do. You've got to choose the right focus mode. But it would be great, Gerald, to have a button that you could just flick and switch between modes. So in other words, you click it and then the faces will change you know, because you can see all the faces selected, but only one becomes active. It would be great to be able to just click a button and have it switch like what the Fuji can. That would be great. What else have we got? What recommendation do you have for shooting over 30 minutes on the Sony camera? Is there any way around the 30-minute restriction? Well, there is with the A7R2 because you have the crack that you can do it, the play memories hack. I've got that on now. Otherwise, that would have shut off. No, the only thing you can... What I do recommend really is just the Ninja V. That's the one that I recommend to use because it's so small. Particularly if you use the Atom X hard drive on the back, they're very small. So that really is the only way of getting around it, to use some sort of recorder. It's the only way of getting around it. I'll be using that on the weekend, actually, due to the fact that I want to record the screen to show you how the Sigma 105 focuses. Tube Dylan says they are so well made and easy to organise, and I love the security locks. Yeah, so do I. They're just amazing bags. And the zips, honestly, I've found them indestructible. And I pack the stuff in and they've never let me down. Langston says, Oscar, the external recorder is really your only option. Yes, it is. Gerald says, I have 3 think tank bags and they travel all over the world, everywhere, super tough and top quality. Yeah, I can't recommend them highly enough. I wish they would sponsor me. I'd love their new versions. Tube Dylan says, I have 6 think tank bags. They still seem like they're brand new. I mean, mine have roughened up a little bit over the time, but I've had them a number of years. But they still function as good as the day I purchased them. Like I said, they're so tough. Ken says, purchase the A9 28th of the 2nd. Fantastic, Ken. Today could not get it to work. Warning. Warning said, unable to read memory card. Reinsert memory card. Tried several cards but could not get the warning off the screen. Have you tried resetting the camera, Ken? Couple of things you can try. Take the battery out, put the battery back in. If that doesn't work, you still get the problem. Reset the camera. You just go over to the end menu and reset your camera. The only problem is you're going to lose all your settings. So reset the camera, see if that functions. If that doesn't work, it sounds like it's a hardware error. You're going to have to send it back for warranty and get it fixed. Well, that's a bummer. You know, I don't hear of many A9s failing. But try that. Try taking the battery out. Leave it for about 30 seconds. Put the battery back in. If that still doesn't fix it, try resetting the camera. If that doesn't work, it's a hardware error. Jim said we need to show ski attachments for the think tank bags in Minnesota for 7 months of the year. Yeah, you would need little skis. Marcus said, I guess I missed all the Samyang talk. Yep, it's all finished. You'll have to go for the replay, Mark. And Marcus says, I can't wait for the 85 1.4 FE. I've seen great reviews. It looks like it's going to be a fantastic camera, Marcus. It really does. All right, guys. That's going to have to be it. We've been on for nearly 2 hours. I better go in and have some lunch. Thanks so much, everyone. Stay tuned for the 105 reviews. I'll have them up early next week. I'm going to be shooting over 2 days, and I've definitely got Matisse coming up, but I'll be shooting other things as well while I'm up there. I'd love some thumbs up if you could, guys. That really would appreciate that. It does make a big difference to me. Apart from that, I'll see you all in the next few videos that I post. Thanks, everyone, so much for the support. If you haven't subscribed, obviously subscribe. And apart from that, I'll see you all again soon, guys. Thanks so much. Have a great Easter, everyone. I might even try and do a live or something up from Echuca as I'm using the lens or something like that. So apart from that, I'll see you all soon. Catch you all, guys.